Welcome back to Hungry Talks, the show where we tackle Adland's biggest questions.
With our final industry night coming up as Hungry Talks Live, we thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about networking and really dig into how it all works.
So, which brings us to today's question. So, how do you actually break into the advertising industry? And then once you're in, how do you figure out what's next?
We're talking to Kate Silver and Chloe Hanson from Neighbourhood Strategy about how strategy works as a career path, and they're also going to tell us about their brilliant networking initiative called Strat Chats.
We've also got Maddie Fricker and Zoe D'Ori, who are coming on from Youngbloods to chat about networking in the industry. Plus, our former classmates Jai Batten and El Tatasol is giving us the full MTV Cribs treatment of the TBWA Melbourne office and telling us how they landed their first internship role.
So we've packed in basically everything you need to know about getting in and getting ahead. But first, Charlotte's back with the news, and thank God, because we had too many lines last week.
Well, hey there, Adland humans. Did you miss me? Well, I'm back this week and ready to give you the headlines happening in our industry. So, listen up. Tourism Tasmania has rolled out its new campaign, Come Down for Air, which had a $4 million budget across its campaign. And I mean, we're pretty happy that it got a hefty budget for our little bro Tassie. It aims to boost domestic tourism, glamorising a lifestyle of natural living and the cold Australian dream, a juxtaposition from how Australia is, well, usually marketed. Meta is unveiling an ad-free subscription. I mean, aren't we just so happy? Like, no more ads. Like, it's just gonna... We like ads. The show's about ads. Enthusiastic about ads. Yeah, well, they're unveiling an ad-free subscription, and honestly, I'm outraged. They are launching this initiative in the UK, and subscriptions are starting at £4 a month for mobile or £3 a month for web. This will provoke a real game changer on how social media platforms are able to advertise to its viewership. And it might see that we see more of a shift into influencer-sponsored content. Anthropic have launched its new first major paid brand push for its AI assistant, Claude. The goal was to reposition Claude into a wider audience, not centering Claude as a dependable, but simply a tool or a partner to work alongside you. The campaign's tagline being to amplify human thought, rejecting AI as a threat and more as a part of our culture. So Claude is basically smarter than your whole group chat of your friends that you have, but it's okay because he's just as supportive. So as a wise netballer once said, Claude does too. Here if you need. With the rise of AI, it's not a surprise that crackdowns are now beginning to happen. Just recently, the newly formed Responsible AI in Marketing Council, which is an off-branch of other councils and groups, announced guidelines surrounding ethical use of AI in advertising and marketing. The guidelines are currently under consideration, but aim to provide our industry with more transparency and our communities also. So you're going to have to start finding other ways to edit out that one cousin out of family pictures without using AI. And finally, it wouldn't be Hungry News without talking about Sydney Sweeney. Again, she's back in headlines, featuring as the new face of Hey Dude, which is a shoe brand acquired by Crocs in 2021. Hey Dude features Sweeney showing off her new shoes while seated on a glamorised stool. Sydney has appeared in many campaigns lately, dare I say once per week. Which is why this year I'll be purchasing the Sydney Sweeney show bag from the Melbourne Royal Show. Full of controversy, Jimmy Choos and genes which are passed down from offspring to offspring. And how Dude is now in it too. Well, that's all from me this week with your roundup of ad news. It's good to be back. Handing back over to you, Imi and Nick.
Thank you, Charlotte, for that. So now to help us understand networking when it comes to the strategy scene, we're lucky to be joined by Kate Silver and RMIT alumnus Chloe Hanson from Neighbourhood Strategy.
Can we welcome them up to the Hungry Talks panel?
so as soon as that red comes on. Hi guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So I guess the first question is, tell us a little bit about Neighbourhood Strategy.
Cool. So we are a strategy and research consultancy. We're pretty new. We were founded by my business partner, our founder, Jacqueline Witts, who was a Chief Strategy Officer for most recently Clemenger BBDO. She's worked at DDB, at AJF, at TBWA. And we help clients solve problems through strategy. So we're specialists in strategy. And we're a team of 5, including Chloe here.
So for anyone who doesn't know, what exactly happens in a Strat Chat?
All right, so Strat Chats was, I guess, an initiative that was founded pretty innocently, again, by Jax, who had sort of reflected on her time as a strategist and was sort of thinking that it's quite a lonely pursuit. Often you're tasked with problems and sort of, made to go figure them out, but often you need to collaborate with other people and meet other like-minded individuals. And so Jax just innocently put out a LinkedIn post saying, hey, strategy can be a bit lonely. It'd be great if I could, if you're curious, if you're a strategist feeling the same way as me, come meet me for a coffee. And we got something like 60 odd people saying,
wow,
I'd love to meet up. And so we were like, there's something in this. So we started Strat Chats, which is essentially a community of strategists, clients, creatives, account management people. And each month we host events in Melbourne and Sydney. We've done some in Tasmania. We've also done some global ones with global strategists. But it's essentially a platform for strategists to share what they do, how they think about problems, how they do strategy. And people come and listen and network and hear from some pretty incredible talent that we have here in Australia and also in the world. So I think we've got to count it, but I think it's something like over 30 events.
Wow.
We've had everyone from we've had Emma Montgomery, who's the global chief strategy officer at Droga 5 in New York. We've had Anna Jackson, who is head of creative effectiveness at Telstra and now at Westpac. We've had Eugene Healy, who's a fantastic social commentator. We've had Jess Wheeler, who's a creative.
Yeah,
we've had a really fantastic mix of people. And it goes for an hour, usually on a Thursday morning. You're in and out 8 till 9, and your brain's filled with great content and great tips on how to do strategy, and you get to meet the community.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose since this week's on networking, like sort of what extent do you think it's a valuable resource? I suppose this also goes for you, Chloe, for junior or graduate strategists coming into sort of the industry and wanting to get a feel for it.
Well, for me, I found that when I joined Neighbourhood, I was joining to learn strategy, but the Strat Chats have been like a really great opportunity to meet everyone that's gone in to learn strategy and like all the different ways they apply it to the jobs they do, because it's not just for strategists. Everything that you learn in Strat Chats like can be applied so far and wide, and yeah, I think it's really good. I mean, you guys came last week.
We did come last week, so we've had a little bit of a teaser. We had a really great, experience actually. I really found it interesting.
Now, may I follow up on that?
Go.
As for Chloe specifically, sorry. How did the degree, like this specific degree, set you up to be a strategist?
Well, I think the first thing I was talking to Kate about was the writing and the rewriting and the scrap that and the rewriting of the brief. And when you think it's done, it's not done, and you got to condense it and make it smaller until you've basically got like a few words on a page, and that there is basically like kind of the cornerstone of figuring out a fix to a problem for a strategy. And I found RMIT really kind of makes you do that, especially campaign strategy.
Yes.
David Freebie.
Yeah, I remember. I suppose that sort of nicely ties into the next question of what does a strategist actually do?
That's a good question because there's a lot of definitions.
Yes.
And I think, at its core, it's providing clarity where there's confusion or there's a problem. A strategist really is there to help clarify and find a new way forward to help solve the problem. And I guess for us, Jax and I were always, I grew up in agency and so did Jax. I think we felt that the discipline had been a little pigeonholed in terms of the output. When you think about strategy in a creative agency setting, it's often the output is always an ad or a piece of communication. And actually, when you think about what clients need right now and the sort of level of change that they're experiencing, a strategist's mind of helping to solve problems, to provide clarity, to bring the consumer into the room. These are all sorts of things that clients really need, but aren't always thinking that they can get that from a creative agency. So for us, we do a lot of research. So strategy usually involves listening to consumers and understanding what they need. And applying that in a business setting. So there's any number of strategic projects that we look after. Some result in an ad and some won't go anywhere near a creative expression, but ultimately it's helping clients solve challenges in usually marketing and business.
It sounds like there's a lot of lateral thinking when it comes to strategy. So to what extent is it a creative position?
I think it's massively creative.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If you can't allow your mind to think outside of the box, wacky new ideas, that's a creative skill.
Yep.
You've got to, it's like detective work.
Yeah.
Basically, I could go on.
You got to crack the code.
Yeah.
Well, one of our other team members, Tom, who's just recently joined us, Tom was a creative. He was a copywriter just up until, only a few months ago. And I've always thought any copywriter is usually a strategist in disguise because a lot of it is about communicating and writing such a big skill. So I think the two are pretty interlinked for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then going back to sort of Strat Chats and then the networking sort of conversation, is there anything in particular as sort of you've been doing the Strat Chats and talking to more and more people that sort of makes networking easier for the both of you?
Yeah, networking, if you ask anyone, do you like networking? No, because, if you think about it, it's always, I don't know, in my mind, I always conjure up going up to a stranger and, striking up a conversation, which is just terrifying in itself, and I wouldn't want to do that. But I think that's the beauty of something like Strat Chats, because there's an exchange, there's someone who's going to share with you their perspective, and we always ask, there's always conversation at the end. And so it just becomes quite a natural networking opportunity when you're in a conversation with someone that you've enjoyed or you disagree with or whatever. So I think going to events like that, Youngbloods do a great job as well at providing networking, but they're all really fantastic and they sort of level the playing field. So hopefully we've forged some relationships somewhere in the ether.
For sure. And what was your experience coming straight out of pitch night from RMIT and having to chuck yourself in the hole, essentially?
To network.
Pretty much.
To cold call. What was my experience? At first, I actually really didn't know what my plan was. I still had another semester to go and I was wondering, do I find work now or do I, how do I, what's my path? And I had a contact from pitch night and that contact gave me Jax's number. And I reached out and then I got a coffee and then I got a coffee with Kate, and honestly it was not that scary. It was we're all people, with a common interest, it was
for sure.
good. Yeah.
I mean, there is some specific networking errors that especially juniors tend to make and that Hungry Talks viewers can avoid.
I mean, Chloe, what would you?
Well, I would just assume that I guess people are busy and maybe not expecting results straight away. I mean, like at anything you have to build and work at it and write the brief, rewrite the brief. Also, maybe just making sure you have the confidence to back yourself when you do reach out to people. Like, they want to know what you want to know, I guess.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I still network, you know, I have to, we've built our business on the strength of our own network. So it's an important skill to start pretty young, but if I reflect on my younger years, I probably didn't really network. I think having good relationships with clients that you do eventually work with in the industry is pretty critical. But as Chloe said, I mean, people are busy and that's always tricky, but coffees are great. And I think if what we look for is, are you interested in business and in problems and the industry? So what we implore is, read the news, read the Fin Review, and have an interest that sits outside the industry, because when you do network, you can offer some really great perspectives and have a great conversation with someone. And trust me, if you meet someone who's really impressive, that you want to either call your mate and say, hey, I found someone fantastic, or you want to get them yourself. So it's preparation, confidence, coffees, go to small events like Strat Chats, Youngbloods, and they're really great opportunities.
Now, we've just got the time for one last question, but when we're talking about selling yourself as a creative, we're talking about your folio and your creative work. So how do you sell yourself as a strategist?
Big picture thinker, I guess. I actually see it as creative thinking, the ability to think creatively. Maybe it's because I came from a background of not knowing if I wanted to be creative or strategic, and I think my skill is that I like to combine the two. So maybe that's how I sell myself, I would say. What about you?
I mean, we met Chloe, and Chloe we could very quickly see how she thought about problems. So she didn't really need to sell us on her. We just wanted to have a good conversation, and obviously it's hard to get into RMIT, into this course, and that carries a good pedigree. But at the end of the day, it's about, can you think about problems? Can you articulate yourself well? Can you have a perspective? And they're great things to sell yourself by, because it's just the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on. We've learned an awful lot.
Thanks, guys.
And
Really
head off to
appreciate
Strat Chats as well. And
Yes.
check out the Neighbourhood Strategy website for that.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Now, thank you so much for that, guys. Now, I work in a suburban clothes shop, so I am a bit of an expert when it comes to ad industry networking. But from our research and by asking a number of industry bigwigs, there are a couple of things that seem to help. The industry want people who are curious, not just about advertising, but also a whole bunch of random junk.
Just showing that you're interested in all sorts of things makes a big part of what makes you appealing.
So, Imi, when you're meeting some industry folk for the first time, is there any particular way that you prepare?
Yeah, I'm a stalker.
Yeah?
I will stalk people's work. I will stalk their LinkedIns. I will stalk everything that the people they used to work for did. And I will just kind of get this really creepy, well-rounded understanding of what kind of work that person makes, what sort of work they like. And also, I just try and find things I have in common. I'm not necessarily trying to make up stuff and mold myself to talk to them about something that I don't want to talk about. But if I see something that I do really like, I'll bring it up. What about you?
I mean, I love when you can take a campaign and you can find a really almost insignificant part of it, but that someone's clearly made a big choice over, and talking to them about that, asking a really nitpicky little question about why is that person in that TV ad wearing that particular thing that seems a little bit odd? Why is that font different to that font? Like, it's just stuff that gets
Showing
their
curiosity.
mind moving. Of course,
Yeah.
it's about
Showing
being
curiosity.
curious. And down not just to a big picture idea and saying, I like that campaign, but saying, I really like this little social media post you did on that particular day about that thing.
Yeah.
I think it really, not only does it show your interest, but it shows you're really engaging and digging beneath, the surface level of the idea.
Completely.
Now, moving on, the other day, the Hungry Talks crew were invited to TBWA for a tour of their Melbourne office. Here's Jai and Elle showing us around the joint. A lovely Monday afternoon, we are getting an interview of the TBWA Melbourne office with a couple of the 2025 Fresh Fries. Shall we?
Hello and welcome to TBWA Melbourne. I'm Jai
And I'm Elle.
and we're the 2025 Freshies.
Okay, hello. Tell us about the Freshies program. So we are both currently in our creative rotation. We both have one more rotation left, but every 10 weeks we switch to a different department.
Yeah, so we've worked through 5 departments throughout the year. I started in production, went into strategy, BM, we're currently in creative, and I finish in PR.
Okay, amazing. All right, well, we're going to have you guys give us a little tour of the place. So maybe we'll head on over this way, I guess. Come on through. So we're first on the ground floor. To the left, we've got Nissan United, who work on Nissan. And then to the right, we have our PR11 team. Hi! So we've run into a bunch of creatives having their lunch. This is Alana and Tom.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey. What do you both think that TBWA is looking for in young creatives?
I think they're looking for hunger mainly. And speaking of hunger, I'd really like to get back to my lunch. So could we?
Fair enough.
They're definitely looking for someone that's, I agree, hungry, but also just keen to try different things. Like in the way that I've tried a new recipe today. We're rocking a pad see ew today, so we're not sure about it yet. It's also a little bit cold from the microwave. So probably people that can cook really well is mostly the most important thing.
How did you guys both get into the Fresh Fries program or the Freshies program?
I was studying at RMIT with Nick, of course, and then when it was time to look for internships, this role popped up and I thought I'd give it my best shot, and sure enough got picked. So yeah, finished up the course and started here.
Cool. I did a Bachelor of Design, Visual Communication. Originally wanted to do graphic design. And then I did a random art direction elective and loved it. And then I found out about awards school, and then that led me here.
Very nice.
Okay, welcome to level 1. On your left, we have our top secret ADF room. Not everyone's allowed in there, and it is top secret. As we come further in, we have finance, managers on your right. Over to the left, we have the production team. Their desks are very empty right now because it is lunchtime.
Now, what has surprised you the most about the program?
I think what surprised me the most is I've learned a lot about myself in all the different departments. Like I use different strengths and not so much strengths for every department, but it's cool how you use what you've learnt from one department into another one. And yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing the whole process of advertising because my degree was more design based. So I definitely think I'll be using those skills wherever I end up.
For me, it's just how hands-on the whole experience has been. Like, you'd think starting in a place like this, you might be babysat a little bit too much, but everyone's been really guiding, but also really trusting in your abilities and, yeah, your skills to actually complete the work, which has been really nice.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome. So over here, we're on level 2 now. And if you come this way. And then on the right, we have creative pods. Then we've got this section where we call D-Life, where people brainstorm. Great fridge and snacks. It doesn't last more than 2 minutes once it's full.
Alrighty, so how do you guys feel that the degree you completed has led you to now?
I think it played a massive role, especially the RMIT course. It was so hands-on, constantly getting new briefs and teachers helping which different ways to look at them and really deconstructing it. And also the group work as well. Coming in here, a lot of the work that we do obviously revolves around working in a large group. And yeah, I think it prepared me, really well.
I think like also working with deadlines and assignments is work for when you need client presentations and stuff. But yeah, I kind of feel like, because my degree wasn't technically advertising, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have ended up here. So everything kind of happens for a reason.
Yeah, completely. I just have another question as well. How similar do you think the RMIT course and sort of the work that we do at uni is to the real world?
Really similar. Like obviously it misses some points such as like production or maybe certain BM roles, but definitely in like the strategy and the creative side of things, like it really is exactly the same pretty much. It's perfect preparedness.
Oh, that's good. All right, thank you.
And then we finish up with the top boardroom, which is really pretty with the morning light. But yeah, thanks for coming to visit, and remember to apply this Friday for the Freshies program. Bye!
Now, thank you so much. Now, thank you so much for both coming on. Could you just tell us a little bit about Youngbloods?
Sure. So Youngbloods are the mates that help you make it. Where you're in industry, young people that just want to help and support the up and coming next generation, such as the generation before us did. So, yeah.
And tell us a bit about yourselves and the sort of roles that you have at the moment.
So we both work at a small independent agency called Taboo.
Yes.
I'm an art director there. Maddie's a producer. Taboo's all about breaking bad rules for good reasons. So we're having a heap of fun kind of learning and then also unlearning the Adland rules and kind of, messing around with them a bit.
Having a bit of a go. Very nice.
So how did you both get your first Adland job?
Yeah, mine was kind of a weird process. I finished my advertising degree here at RMIT and couldn't find a job and panicked and went and did a year of research in the honours program for the media communications. Halfway through that, I was applying like mad. I was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to work. I just want to have, coffees whenever I want and go to the bathroom and not have to write 10,000 words a day. And then a job came up at Clemenger BBDO for a production assistant role, which was working in their TV department. And I've been working in their, well, not at Clems, but I've been working in the AV department now for about 7 years. So that's kind of how I got my first job.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like freelancing was really the way in. I kind of came out of uni and was like, yep, I want a full-time job. And I think I realised that I was like, actually kind of the better opportunity for me was to do, I'm an art director, so I did a bit of design stuff and then I started freelancing at advertising agencies. And it was actually a wacky LinkedIn post that I did with my creative partner on Valentine's Day that shot us onto the Taboo radar, and again started doing some freelancing, and that's what transitioned into our job now that we have.
If you don't mind sharing, what happened in the LinkedIn post?
So we basically hard launched our creative partnership on Valentine's Day. We'd been covertly building a portfolio, working together, coming up with things, entering competitions. And then it was kind of the year had kicked off and we were like, okay, well, we need to do something. We want to really get our names out there, and conveniently Valentine's Day was coming up. So we did a little Valentine's Day card on LinkedIn and we sent out some boxes of chocolates to agencies asking them to be ours.
But it also went absolutely viral.
I think I actually saw it. As you're saying this, I'm going, I've seen this before. Very nice. Well, how long have both of you been involved with Youngbloods itself?
I've been involved for about 5 years. I really liked Youngbloods when I was at uni. It was kind of a good opportunity to meet people in the industry who are similar age and similar experience to me. And then I've just kind of wanted to give back. So I've been doing it ever since and trying to be that person that can help, the next generation, you guys, get in, because it is quite a difficult process.
Yeah.
So.
I've been going to Youngblood since I was at uni, but I officially joined the team this year. So it's been awesome to kind of like drop in, get some drinks, kind of like learn the way, and now, properly be inducted and get more involved.
May I ask, like, what does joining the team actually look like? What do you do as opposed to just generally showing up to events?
Yeah, so with Youngbloods, you have to put through a creative kind of piece to say why they need you. So my creative piece was I can ride the unicycle, it's a hidden talent. So I rode down my previous agency's corridor on a unicycle, juggling stuff, just saying, I love producing stuff, you should hire me. And then walking and putting on a suit and then being like, but I can also be a suit if you need. And then putting on a wig and I was like, I can also be a creative, you never know. So I was quite lucky that they saw that and were like, oh yeah, we need a producer, done.
Perfect. What about you? And I think that's kind of, that's really what Youngbloods is. It's kind of using your hidden talent, whatever it is in the industry, to kind of, step, I guess the difference is, as a person attending the events, you go along, you soak them up, you meet, whether it be students, other young people, industry connections. But the difference for us is we're still going along to all those things. We're having just as much fun, but we're also on the other side of the table, kind of promoting them, planning the social media, organising them, getting everything, the ball going.
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of Youngblood opportunities, how does Youngblood help form opportunities for people? Is it just the community aspect or?
We have a very broad range of industry connections as well. So we do strategies now on my mind, but we do a strategy panel every year where we get some of the top chief strategy officers to come in and they talk about whatever the year's topic is. So last year we had AI and we had, the chief strategy officer from Hanson and partners come in and talk to us about how AI is being implemented in their agency. So again, it's the people that you wouldn't be able to normally meet, even if they're not anything of what you're doing day to day, you get to meet them and meet like-minded people around them. So we had people, even from my agency, I think we had 20 people rock up. So just coming to those events, 20 people from my previous agency, 10 people from Taboo, if you just come and just meet one person, that one person knows 10 people and that 10 people know more 10 people. So that's kind of a benefit of these industry connections that happen in an organic way.
So when we're talking about these friendships and these connections, have you had some really unexpected connections or opportunities that have come through Youngbloods?
I think it's just crazy. I think being at Youngbloods and like coming to the events, realising like how small this industry is. And I think so much of working in advertising or getting your job in advertising or just like understanding the land comes from your friends who the connections you have and kind of like ins. Like for me, I'm on Youngbloods because Mads and I met and then she was like, hey, we need a creative team. And it's like, it's those people And I think whenever you go to a Youngbloods event, or now me being on the Youngbloods team, I'm like, there's 4, 5, 10 people that I'm like, oh yeah, we did this together. And it's like such a nice reminder of like how tightly knit it is and kind of getting to keep those connections going.
Yeah, completely. And I would say, what sort of tips do you have for people, whether that's students or people who have just graduated, coming into their first Youngblood event and wanting to make the most of it?
So us at Youngbloods, we aren't doing it today because I thought we were wearing fun shirts today, but we're not. We have Youngbloods shirts. So just come and talk to us and just be like, hey, I just graduated, or hey, I'm at uni. Who can you recommend me to have a chat to? And that goes for the whole team, not just like us two. That's why we wear the shirts, just so you know that you've got a friendly face and someone who genuinely wants to see you succeed in this industry. So that's my one tip, is talk to us.
Yeah.
We want to talk. We love talking. We talk too much.
To sort of shepherd you to the right person, essentially. Very nice.
Yeah, I look back to my first Youngbloods event and I turned up on my own, which is crazy thinking back to it now. Like, I probably wouldn't even think to do that these days. But I remember I just graduated uni and I wanted to go, and I had some friends who were meant to be turning up later, and I remember walking in and I was like so scared. And I was like, oh, this is so scary. And I didn't really know what to expect. And then I just kind of walked in and it was actually just like a whole lot of people just hanging out and having a beer. And I was like, okay, that was such a good experience for me because so much of, you guys have obviously been speaking about networking tonight, and so much of what you need to do is networking. And so coming along, these are actually really low pressure, low stress. It's just kind of like a fun be with some mates. But you get really comfortable at putting yourself in those situations.
That's very funny because that was the first Youngbloods event I went to. It was being assured that there would be people coming later and watching the door for about the first 10 minutes and then deciding, do you know what, they're not actually. I might as well try and talk to people and then having actually a really good time.
I have a theory that sort of going on your own to something where you know no one is actually better because it forces you to talk to people as opposed to standing in the corner with someone that you know looking a bit horrified.
Yeah, do you find that that's kind of a good look? If you go just on your own, that you're kind of, I'm really here to actually soak it all in?
I think it is. I'm an introvert, so I'm always like, oh my gosh, someone is here on their own, amazing.
And I also feel like that's something that like, when you do it, you're so conscious of being like, oh my God, I'm here on my own. Whereas like, actually no one else notices that.
Yeah.
Like I think of every conversation I've had and I'm like, I didn't clock whether you were standing with a group of people beforehand or whether you're just here on your own. And you're so right. Like I personally chat to so many more people when I rock up on my own.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've only got time for one final question, but for both of you, what has been your favourite Youngblood event so far?
Oh, trivia, but the first trivia. Oh no, and the second trivia. My previous agency was VML, and I can't believe I'm going to put this on the internet. We won, and then the following year, another agency won by 1 point. And then they brought the trophy to a other industry event, and we somehow acquired said trophy. So that was probably my favourite Youngblood event.
Plot twist, you've really exposed yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I reckon for me, we do something called Tales and Ales, and it's like not every Friday, but it's on a Friday night, and for me, that's my favourite because it's like having, you go see all your old mates. My most recent one I went to, I entered into D&AD, a competition with some of my mates from award school, and when we were entering it, none of us had jobs. And the next Tales and Ales, we were all there and we'd all just landed our first jobs. And I was like, this is such a great experience to kind of, see everyone there.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on. We've really enjoyed hearing all about this.
So what's it called? Thank you for everybody that's joined us today. So entries for the Freshies program opens this Friday, and then don't forget about the TBWA Disrupt AI Film Festival with the entries closing on the 20th of October, and the prize pool is $15,000.
We'll see you this time next week to hear all about politics in advertising.
Or better yet, see you at the Hungry Talks Live program on the 22nd of October.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.